Refusing to go to the family vacation because my sister is making a demand for me to babysit at 2 to 3 a.m. was the final straw. I'm 23 and have been repeatedly stuck playing the part of helper and babysitter on family outings. I had to move out of my parents' house because I kept being forced to watch my 3 nephews. Last year, we took a family vacation to the coast in summer. I rode along with my parents and they paid for my hotel room, only I had to share it with 3 rowdy boys because my sister and her husband wanted a room to themselves. I was promised time to do my own things on the vacation, but instead I ended up having to help with the kids. I complained to everyone about it and was reminded I was there for free. In the end, we pretty much did only one thing I wanted to do: tour an art gallery. I love doing that whenever I'm at the coast, but the kids found it boring. This year, my parents planned another beach trip for June and just assumed I'd ride along like last year. I refused. I said I'd be driving myself and paying for my own hotel stay to have my own room. My parents were shocked and tried to remind me of the cost. I told them not to worry. I have a good job and a decent car. I can more than afford it. That's when the buts started. I laid out the reasons I'd be driving and paying for myself. I want to enjoy this vacation as an adult and not be treated like a child like last year. My parents told my sister and she called to blow up at me, saying I'd ruin the vacation if I was off doing my own thing while she had to wrangle her 3 boys. I yelled back that last year she roped me into her mess. I didn't get to do much of anything I wanted, and I was treated like the bad guy for wanting to go to an art gallery. I'm a grown man. I deserve my own vacation too. Now my sister isn't speaking to me, and my parents are trying to convince me to ride with them to keep the peace. I'm still refusing, but the pressure is getting to me. Am I the jerk for not giving in? I know they'll have a hard time when they don't have another person to help. Edit. It's barely been an hour since I posted, but my sister is apparently a Reddit lurker in the mornings and she saw my post. Not only is she furious with me, she's also upset no one in the comments is siding with her. To make it short, she went on a big rant about how hard it is to be a parent to triplets and said the least I could do is help because I'm young and single, and she needs a break. I stood my ground, and now she's calling our parents to get them involved. I'm expecting a call from them any minute. Update. I'm off work now and can tell more of what went down. I guess you could say it's over, for now. My sister got our parents involved. They looked at my post and were horrified by the continuous influx of commenters. Yes, they're very angry I posted, but I told them if they'd listened to me to begin with, I'd never have needed to. I'm sick of the whole keep the peace mentality that sacrifices me to placate my sister. They, in turn, went off on her and, to make a long story short, the whole vacation has been canceled. The hotel wasn't booked yet anyway, but now my parents are arguing with my sister. My sister is blaming me, and my nephews are crying because they aren't going to the beach. My sister called me at lunch and basically implied I have no life, which is why I have time to help. I recorded that and told our parents, and that's what they're currently fighting about. Small update. I wasn't going to update again, but here's a little more. My parents said they won't ever push babysitting of my nephews on me again and agreed that what happened last year was unfair. Right now they're very angry with my sister for telling me I should help because she thinks I have no life. My sister is playing the victim, and my brother-in-law is basically tapping out of the mess and spending most of his time at work. Thank you to everyone who commented, you made my day. Update 1, my parents apologized. My sister did not, at least at first. A week ago I made this throwaway to ask an am I the jerk? question. I was found to be anything but. I have too much to say for AITA as an update, so a friend suggested I come here. My AITA post basically opened a Pandora's box in the family. My parents and older sister had gotten very comfortable with me helping with childcare for my young triplet nephews. I didn't leave home till 22 because I was trying to save money while going to college. A scholarship covered a lot, and living at home kept me from rising debt since I worked part-time. I'm thankful for that. However, after college everyone acted like I had endless time on my hands and convinced me to go on a family vacation. On that trip, I was forced to babysit my then 6-year-old nephews. I even had to share a hotel room with them, and those kids didn't listen to a thing I said until I called their mother twice on the first night. I was treated like the bad guy for wanting to do other things, and if it wasn't something the family enjoyed as a whole, it didn't happen. Hypocritical because I'm family and wasn't included in that vote. I aired this grievance with my parents after my last post, and they've acknowledged being in the wrong. After that awful vacation, I decided to move out, and did so before summer ended with no warning. I'd landed a great job right after college thanks to an internship and used moving as an excuse to drop my commute from 45 minutes to 15. My sister hated it most because it meant no more free babysitting on weekends, but she still tried. I caved sometimes, usually bribed with pizza, and it became a new norm. Then last month, my parents announced plans for another family vacation to the same coast and basically wanted it to be the same as before. I immediately saw the trap. If I rode with them and let them buy rooms, I'd be screwed over again. So I casually stated I'd drive and pay for myself. And that's when the storm started. When my parents realized they couldn't entrap me like before, they resorted to borderline begging, and my sister practically tried to order me to go with the flow through gaslighting. Newsflash: I didn't. After days of harassment, I made the AITA post. My sister spotted it in less than an hour. Pandora's Box, Part 2. At first, the family was against me. My parents called while reading my post and asked me to explain. I asked if anything was a lie. They steered around it and called it an exaggeration, but I pointed out details that made it pretty much on the mark. Then I told them to check the comments. There were far too many to read. I kept refreshing and updating them on the count, and the numbers doubling horrified them. They were forced to take a long look at their actions. My sister tried calling me at work, but my phone was on silent until lunch. When she finally reached me, the gist was that my post had taken our parents away from her side, and now they were mad at her. In the ensuing arguments, my parents canceled the entire vacation. Later, they acknowledged they'd just passed the blame out of embarrassment and fully accepted fault. They told me no excuse could justify making me their go-to free babysitter when I wasn't living at home anymore. They tried to backtrack by pointing out they never charged me rent during college. I reminded them kids don't ask to be born, and I was doing my hardest to make my own way. I also pointed out my father had the same leg up. His parents let him live at home free during college. That ended their argument. When my sister and I spoke at lunch, she showed her true colors, implying I have no life and that my free weekends should be spent helping her because she's tired and can't go out without bringing the kids unless someone watches them. She's a stay-at-home mom with a husband who makes a decent salary. They own a nice house. And to be frank, my nephews aren't my responsibility. They forced them on me and expected it to stay that way. She angrily hung up. I'd recorded the call and played it for my parents later. They were furious and basically went to war with her. She dug in, blamed me, and doubled down on the belief my life should circle around hers. I told her that was the most narcissistic, entitled thing she'd ever said to me. It took days, but her husband finally stepped in and forced her to apologize. I'd never seen her cowed like that. Came out that one reason I was the default babysitter is that she didn't trust strangers. It was never about the money. Or was it? My brother-in-law thought my sister was paying me for my time after I moved out. She wasn't. She didn't even give me gas money, just enough cash to order pizza for me and the kids and pocketed the rest. She'd been shortchanging me for months. He blew up at her when this came out during her half-hearted apology, and she was forced to pay me what she owed entirely from her own savings, which she looked very sore about. Then my brother-in-law apologized for his inaction and promised they'd get a normal babysitter from now on. Yes, it'll cost them, but my sister will be getting her date nights back. We had a family meeting the other evening at my parents' house. Everything was laid bare. Apologies all around. My parents reinstated the family vacation. And yes, I still plan to drive myself and pay for my own hotel. I'll even stay in a completely different hotel if my sister tries to revert me to childcare. I've said this aloud. She promised it won't happen. If I don't update after the vacation in a month or so, you'll know everything is fine. Update 2. My sister called demanding I take my posts down. She's more upset than ever about how far it spread. Having family who know your Reddit account has disadvantages. Yesterday, after work, she asked if comments were still coming in. She said she can't bear to look because they're so hurtful. I was brutally honest. At least 10 comments are still coming in daily, and most say the same things. She started crying and demanded I delete everything. I refused, telling her the posts are my assurance she won't treat me like crap anymore. After all, she acted like my life should revolve around hers, didn't pay me babysitting money and pocketed it, and forced me to be the babysitter on last year's vacation, so I had almost no fun. Is it any wonder people are critical? When I mentioned the posts have spread to other websites, some articles and read-aloud videos, she shrieked and hung up. Then my parents called, begging me to take the posts down. I refused and said I only did this because they didn't stick up for me. This would never have happened if they'd told my sister to treat me like an equal and not a servant. I'm not her butler, babysitter, or handyman. I'm her brother and a grown man. Wouldn't they be tired of this in my shoes? They agreed but still begged. I refused and said I'll keep posting if they don't start sticking up for me when my sister comes crying. Let her clean up her own messes. Their enabling led to this. I didn't father those kids. I've got my own life, a career I'm new to, and hopefully soon a girlfriend. There's someone I want to ask out. I'm moving forward and won't be held back. They can step out of my way or keep enabling my sister, but I assured them the latter will end badly for them. The only way the posting stops is if the drama stops. I've kept things anonymous and have a right to vent. That left my mother crying. My father went silent. I said tears don't move me anymore. They know what it'll take. Stop enabling my sister. My sister called again to yell that our parents told her they aren't dealing with this anymore and to figure it out herself, and to be nicer to me. I pictured her eye twitching as she internally screamed hearing that. Be nice to my kid brother? What is this? Do I look it up on Google? Yeah, I was that sarcastic. She cried and hung up. My brother-in-law called later to get my side. He was mad I'm still posting and made his wife cry. But after I explained everything, he said he'd have another talk with her. I'm hoping the drama finally ends here. The family vacation is still on for late June. I've booked my room and put in for a day off so we can all leave on a Friday. My room is not near my parents, sisters, brother-in-laws, or nephews. Not even on the same floor. When we're at the coast, if it's not a family activity, I'm going where I want and doing what I want. You can bet I'm touring art galleries, pigging out on local food, and enjoying being carefree for a change. Update 3. After the family vacation, some things went as expected, good and bad. Good. My parents didn't enable my sister's attempts to make me babysit. Oh yes, she tried. Bad. She tried to find out which room I was in, but failed and got in trouble with her husband again. First, I told the hotel in advance not to give out any of my information to anyone except police if necessary. They assured me they wouldn't tell a soul. On the day, I left earlier than the rest of the family. I knew they couldn't get moving as a group before 10 a.m., so I left at 9. Check-in wasn't until 1 p.m., but I wanted a head start. I sent out an FYI group text and made the 3-hour drive. My parents were upset because they'd planned a family brunch on the way, but I pointed out no one told me, so it was canceled for fast food, like I'd planned. I arrived early. Too early for check-in, but I told the desk staff I was there to make sure my parents or sister didn't get my info. They claimed they don't disclose, but I said I know it still happens sometimes, and I wanted to cover myself. If they're dealing with my mother, sister, and 3 crying boys trying to guilt them at the desk, they'd better not yield. They awkwardly promised only I would get access to my room. I went out to eat and came back an hour later. My parents' car and my brother-in-law's big SUV were there. I checked in after making sure the lobby was clear and asked the clerk if my family had asked about me. They had. The clerk refused to tell them anything, and my sister apparently tried to push it until her husband shut her up. I went to my room and then called my folks. I didn't mention I knew what they'd tried. They conveniently didn't either. We all met up to tour around. At one point, my sister asked me to watch her kids for a moment. I said hell no because I knew exactly what she was doing. She'd vanish for an hour. I called her out and her husband told her to stop. She started crying on the spot that she needs a break. Her husband scolded her that he's tired too and wasn't complaining. My mother gave me a nasty look, so I told her plainly that if she so much as hinted I should watch the kids, I'd walk away from the vacation right then. It's not my job, and I'm sick of them acting like it is. My mother started crying too and kept repeating, "You're right," over and over. Another old tactic to guilt me. I said, "I am right," told her to let it go, and walked away. Neither she nor my sister tried anything else that day. Back at the hotel after dinner, everyone crowded the elevator. I didn't get in with them. They asked why, and I said I'd wait for the next one. My sister glared because she knew exactly why. I sat in the lobby watching YouTube for 15 minutes and then took the elevator up to my different floor on the other end of the hotel. Splendid night. The next morning we went to breakfast. I made sure they left first, so I was the last one out. Breakfast went fine. I said FYI, I'd be doing my own thing that day. My mother brought up plans for the aquarium and a couple of other places. I said I'd meet them for those, but the rest of the day was mine until family dinner. Everyone accepted that, and the day went fine. That evening, my sister caught me leaving my room. She must have been stalking the floor looking for me. I'd gone back to rest before dinner because I was tired from walking. When I stepped out, she tried to corner me, saying I'd ruined the family vacation because it wasn't much different for her than at home since she had to wrangle her kids. I called nonsense. My parents were helping a lot. I told her I'm sick of being her scapegoat and this song and dance is over. Then I started walking with her yelling, "Hey, I'm trying to talk to you." I said I didn't care and was going to dinner. She followed me to the elevator. We said nothing. I didn't stay silent with the others, though. I told my parents and brother-in-law she'd stalked me to find my room. She was scolded like a child, had a pity party, and I told her to stop milking it and grow up. The old days of forcing her will on me are over. I walked out to my car and was first to dinner. That night, my sister avoided me completely. I told everyone bluntly that unless it's an emergency, no one is to come knocking on my door. I have a do not disturb sign for a reason. The final day went swimmingly. Neither my sister nor my mother bothered me at all. They'd fully surrendered by then. For the record, I did play with my nephews a bit. I'm not a complete jerk. I kept being the fun uncle, just not the babysitter uncle. The kids didn't care. They just wanted to play. I even bought each of them a little bag of crystals and polished stones as souvenirs. There was mild drama between my sister and her husband, but just small disagreements I ignored. All in all, I call the vacation a win because it finally hit home for my mother and sister that the old way is over. I have my own life. Update 4: Mother and sister saw my last post. They really don't know when to let well enough alone. Hey mom. Hey sis. I warned you if you didn't stop, I'd go right back to Reddit, and here I am. Short version. They saw my last post and freaked out. My sister stalked my account for days because she knew I'd post again. What did she expect? That I'd just say, "Everybody had a good time"? She called and cried that I made her look like a bad mother. I replied, "Well, if the glass slipper fits." She argued more. I asked her to name anything in the post that was a lie. She tried several times, and I pointed out every detail was spot on. So she called mommy. My mother showed up at my door demanding I delete all the posts. I told her no, and now I have ammunition for one more. I made her leave crying. Later, I spoke with both parents on the phone and bluntly told them that enabling my sister led to the previous family dynamic. I will never go back to how things were, so if they have any hope of that, I'm snuffing it out. They told my sister, again, to stop blaming me and leave me alone. They can't take the stress of my retaliation anymore. My sister had a "no one loves me" pity party. My parents had to snap her back to reality. My brother-in-law hasn't called. Pretty sure he's staying neutral, but this can't be good for his marriage or my connection to him. Out of respect to him, I'm sorry, man, but your wife pushed me too far. Currently, my parents are insisting my sister gets counseling because she can't be a mom and juggle her old habits too. Woman up, as they say. Either way, I'm hoping this is my last post. Hear that, sis? If you don't stop thinking I should be your personal slave, babysitter, watchdog, etc., and keep acting like the world is against you because you can't lord over me, then we can't be around each other. Maybe we can move past this if you're willing. Don't give me a reason to write anything else. From here on out, I'll only post about how people treat me. Treat me like a decent human being and this will be over. Capice? Final update. My parents and I had a long talk. They apologized, and we agreed I'll keep some distance until Thanksgiving. I also had a man-to-man with my brother-in-law over some cold beers. He told my sister she needed counseling or he'd separate from her, and they're in the process of finding a counselor. He said that while my sister has been an absolute witch to me at home, she's a very loving and endearing wife. She also admitted she liked being an only child. We're nearly a decade apart, so she held on to resentment for a long time and let it build up. She's agreed she needs counseling and will go as soon as they set it up. They've also found a qualified babysitter for my nephews. My brother-in-law admitted he was angry with me too, but didn't step in when I needed him. We agreed it was a very bad situation that needs to end, and we're letting it rest in peace. Lastly, and weirdly, these posts got me a girlfriend. The girl I like suspected it was me after she read them and was waiting for me to say something. We're going on our first date tonight. So, thanks to everybody here for the immense support. I really needed it.